I'm coming to reinforce.
Come on. Yeah, I got one.
Oh yeah, that felt good.
Fucking, they're fun. So now you just gotta work on your like trigger discipline to make sure everything hits. So here we go into the merge with the shmuckaneer. And so what I'm gonna have to try and do is like, I'm not gonna be able to win the trade, even though you're in an arrow and I'm in a buccaneer. My only real option here is to hit you really hard, disengage, get my shields up so that I play a little bit more of the ammo game. And I can pick at you from longer, like further away, like this. And then as I slowly drop your shields, a little corkscrew out of that. Because now you're going to come in close for the trade. So now I'm out of shields. There's the trade, but I've got your shields down, so I can get out of that. Oh! Nope. Ran out of bullets.
Also.
Alright, let's get her done. So again,
I
right?
don't run a... Yeah.
Pass and begin in the merge. Come around. Again, right? If you're in a medium fighter, like my only option is to close the distance against you as fast and aggressively as I can, because I'm not going to avoid fire. Like I can do corkscrews and try my best to avoid fire, but ultimately the arrow is going to choose the the engagement distance.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay. Ah! Yeah.
You've got it. Don't give up. Like, gotta keep. There you go. Right. A small. Oh, close.
Oh,
You had it, man. You had it. You had it. All right, let's go.
Good
Polar.
fight. Good fight, though. Good
that was
fight.
close, man. Because again, right? Like, if you can marry your movement, because your movement was great. If you were applying damage during that movement cycle, you would have fucking smoked the buck like instantly.
Yeah, I had like one pass where I like just barely missed a lot.
Your ammo is low.
12 rounds left in the mag, and I still killed him. Bruh. Alright, everybody, welcome back to today's video. So today we are taking a look at the Drake Buccaneer. Yes, we're finally doing the Drake Buccaneer. We had some good fights with myself and Schwang, also someone we've been training here at the Avenger stream. And these are two fights with the Buccaneer, one with a full laser loadout and one with a full ballistic. So, like we were talking about yesterday, you know, what do you do in a medium fighter when you have to engage a much more agile, much better equipped light fighter? And just like the Hornet, you know, we don't really have a lot of options. If we try to run, we'll get chased down. If we try to engage and then fade away, so kind of a hit and run, potentially we could, but we also have to disengage properly after the fight. So really what it boils down to is it's identically the same as the Hornet, except for the difference with the Buccaneer and the Hornet is that the Buccaneer has a little bit more of a sluggish aim, so it's a little more difficult to get weapons on target. And on top of that, the Buccaneer has really not the best thrusters. Of all the medium fighters I have flown, I'd say the Buccaneer is probably in the in my opinion, one of the worst spots that we have with medium fighters, because it doesn't have the MAV thrusters to push itself around and get any kind of positional advantage. It doesn't really have the DPS with lasers here, you'll see. And we get our lasers charged up to 100%. Click, guns are charged, and off we go. And of course we are fighting a full ballistic arrow, which is very, very difficult to fight. and again, right? Schwang is doing a great job at just making enough of a difficulty to hit him. Because he's got solid corkscrews, he's got good movement, right? As soon as he notices that he's taking damage, he immediately gets himself out of there and does the right maneuvers at the right time. And so now our shields are down after the third turn. Again, right, ballistics are coming in. And ironically enough, Schwang and I spoke after this fight. He could have ended the fight a lot sooner, but being, very new to ballistics, he forgot, oh yeah, I can just hold the trigger down and get him, right? So we thought, okay, obviously the limitation with lasers is poor DPS, and ultimately the biggest problem is low magazine capacity. If lasers had the same sustained DPS that ballistics do at this current time, then we would see a much closer fight between lasers and ballistics. And in fact, if we had larger capacity on lasers, we would probably see a meta shift towards lasers instead of ballistics for the choice of PvP, especially in duels. So let's take a look at fight 2, where we go full ballistics on the Buccaneer versus a full ballistic arrow. So just like the Hornet fight, what we want to do with the Buccaneer is we want to close the distance after the merge, and we want to aggressively close the gap. Now the best way to do this is to accept two things. One, you're going to take damage on the way in. You just have to accept it. The nice part about it is the Buccaneer does have more forward guns and more forward DPS, especially in burst, versus the arrow. And the arrow with its one size one shield is a squishy target if you can apply the damage. But a well-moving pilot, as you'll see here, applying that damage is exceedingly difficult, but we'll do the best we can. So notice how I'm within 300 meters. That's kind of where I want to sit. Closer the better. But what I want to do is I want to sacrifice any kind of counter maneuvering that I'm going to do. I want to make every movement I can here to look at the direction that his strafe is applied to and where his ship is moving towards as we apply the damage onto the arrow. So you'll see here at the very end we've applied just enough damage to get the kill, and because of our sustained DPS we've been able to shoot down our arrow pilot here. Now this kill right here is just again against a rookie pilot who wanted to do some training with us. And you'll see right here, again, ballistic or laser, it doesn't matter. If you're in a Buccaneer, you want to stay flat on your trajectory, control your throttle on the way in, close the distance as quick and fast as you can, and just like the Hornet, the best defense is offense. And there you have it, 12 rounds left in the magazine. But I wanted you to look at that arrow one more time here. So the point I really want to drive home is I want to explain what's called over aiming. And basically, just like over rolling, it's excessive input during an aim cycle, right? So if you would look at my controls, you'll notice that I'm not making big corrections. The only corrections I'm making are small, deliberate, and they're going in the direction of what I think at the time is the direction that his ship is going to kind of orbit me in. Now, you'll notice that Schwang is orbiting me right now in a consistent pattern, and I'm countering with my own countering. And by say countering, like countering with my own strafe input, right? And I'm not putting any of my corkscrews in. I'm not really doing any kind of counter maneuvering as I'm aiming, because again, right, with the medium fighter, you have to accept that you're not going to avoid fire. It's just not going to happen. So the best defense is offense, right? So just like the Hornet, Buccaneer flies in terms of strategy very similar. However, you just have to understand that the Buccaneer, here's my problem with the Buccaneer. The Buccaneer is made from duct tape, a cinder block, 2 straps of wood, and a picture of Bob Ross, because this thing is artistic in how incredibly bad it flies. I mean, this thing has a complete mind of its own. If it wants to go to the right, guess what? You're going to the right, and there's not a thing in hell that's going to stop that thing from going the way it wants to go. And what I mean by that is just the jerk profile and its kind of sloppiness in terms of its aiming. Is it does kind of you have to kind of babysit it in terms of its movement. And as the pilot, the less responsive my ship, the more I have to fight with it. And honestly, if I'm fighting with my ship to get it to do what I want it to do, the relationship between man and machine just isn't there. So I definitely don't have an enjoyable experience flying the Drake Buccaneer. And maybe that's the whole point. Maybe that is the point between the flying garbage can and the difference between some of the ships. But buyer beware with the Buccaneer. There are a lot of other issues with the ship as well. Turrets that like to break off, wings that decide to fly on their own, engines that decide to fall off whenever they feel like it, and of course the tried, tested, and true rear thruster that decides to well, that rear thruster's broken loose again, and you got no R2 droid to fix it. So it's tough with no ejection seat and a whole lot of rage and hate, which is the only thing that keeps this thing flying. The Buccaneer is definitely a ship for a select few, but not for me. So yeah, Buccaneer, there you go. Hopefully they take a look at it and they give medium fighters a little pass for some love. But all in all, the Buccaneer, I think I put this thing in C tier, and I think it deserves to be there on my tier list video. But for PvP, if you don't have to choose the Buccaneer, choose something else. But that's just my 2 cents. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. Again, very similar to the Hornet video, but I wanted to give the Buck a fair chance. I know some of you guys on stream have had infinite amount of fun forcing me to fly the garbage can, and it's definitely a fun time on stream. So thank you to everyone, who comes out and supports myself and the rest of the team here at Avenger Squadron. We ran a bracket tournament a few days ago, and it was a big success. We had a lot of guys show up, and we had a lot of fun. Once a week we run a bracket, which means we have a bunch of people show up, and we run like a little improv tournament. It takes about an hour, and it's a lot of fun. It's good training, it's good camaraderie, it's a good time. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, jump onto the Discord and get involved. It's a good time, right? So take a look at Predator mounts, guys, and use the code Avenger1 for 5% off. It's a good time. And I will see all of you folks in the next video. Thank you so much. I was Avenger1, and I'll see you next time.